low-income countries, many donors were involved in sort of regular collections of funding for emergency assistance, especially in sub-Saharan Africa. And they felt that what is needed is to move to a more stable means of providing assistance to food insecure households in sub-Saharan Africa. So that is kind of the explanation there. In middle-income countries, it's simply because of the initiative of middle-income countries in moving in this direction, and then kind of funders and donors coming behind and providing support for them.
So what part of social protection has shown the best results so far?
I think these social protection programs that have a human development component, that try to build assets, productive assets, understood in a broad sense of not just physical and financial assets, but also human assets. I think those tend to have the greatest effectiveness and I think the greater likelihood of having a long-term impact on the recipient households.
You say that foreign aid have an important but limited role in social protection. What does that mean?
Well, I don't think that there is an appropriate role for foreign aid in actually financing transfers in developing countries. I think aid is too volatile. I think it's not sufficiently political enough to involve the governing coalitions in developing countries to really make a significant effect, a positive effect on developing countries. I mean, for example, I'm a UK taxpayer. I would not advise anybody to depend on UK taxpayer for their social protection. So ultimately, the social protection must be developed out of internal sources of financing. So that limits the role of aid. However, aid has a very important role in supporting infrastructure development and capacity building in particularly low-income countries. I mean, to give you an example, Zambia has 50 districts, has 2 social workers per district. That is never going to be sufficient for an effective poverty reduction kind of a strategy and program. So you need capacity development, you need infrastructure development. The other point that is really important is the issue of registration of children, because any anti-poverty program requires to know how many people need support, when they were born, are they school age, where do they live, and that is crucial. So supporting, for example, 100% birth registration is really an important step forward. So there is an important role for aid there, but it's limited. I don't think aid should fund actual transfers.
But at the same time, you say that the foreign aid in social protection is probably the best evaluated. I mean, from the donor perspective, why is that?
I think it's because there is a resistance among voters and taxpayers in donor countries as to how their kind of resources to aid for aid are used, and I think that resistance has been met on the part of multilaterals and increasingly bilateral agencies with evaluations that demonstrate the effectiveness of these programs. So if you, for example, if you want international aid to support microfinance, very few people will complain about it. If you want aid to support small and medium enterprise development in developing countries, no one would complain about that. But if you say we're going to use aid to support programs that provide direct transfers in cash to families in poverty, there is much greater resistance. And that is really where evaluation has come as a means of overcoming that kind of political resistance to this strategy.